Welcome to the Butler Safari!
I'm Lainey.
I'm Rua.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Emma. And today we're going to take a trip around Butler's campus to see what animals and plants you can find here.
So before we talk to you about the animals that we find here on campus, we first want to talk about the ecosystems in which they live. A few great examples here is first the Butler Prairie, right behind me, the Butler Q Farm over here, and then the White River, which is in the back behind those trees, and along with the forest. So before we go exploring these cool ecosystems, it's important to keep a couple of safety tips in mind. First off, if you go out and explore, make sure that a trusted adult knows where you are, so they can find you in case of emergencies. Second, don't approach any wildlife while you're on the trail. While it's tempting to go over and try to pet them or feed them, it does more harm than good to the animals. If you see an animal while out on the trail, back away slowly and give it time to move away. So the first animal we're going to talk about today is the rabbit. Around central Indiana, the most common kind you'll see is the eastern cottontail, and they're usually about a foot long and weigh about 3 pounds. They have a red-gray coat, which makes it easier for them to blend into their surroundings, and they like to burrow around bushes and other brush so that they can hide from predators. They're usually active around dawn and dusk, so about the time when you're getting up for school in the morning and when you're going to bed at night is when they kind of come out and hang out. They also eat clover and other grass, and they're vegetarians.
Our next animal is a fox. A fox is a small to medium-sized animal. They eat plants and small animals. They are active around dusk and dawn, and they have small whiskers on their legs and face which help them move around.
Alright, so the next animal that we're going to be talking about is a possum. A possum looks something like this. So, possums are usually 21 to 36 inches long. They're also normally between 4 and 15 pounds, and they live for about a year to 2 years. You can tell that it's a possum because of the fact that it has a cat-sized body, gray fur with a white face, a long pointy snout, and it has a long hairless tail that spans over 1/3 of its total body's length. So possums prefer woodlands because they like nearby sources of water, but they're very adaptable and they are usually good at surviving wherever they are. An interesting fact about possums is that they actually don't build their own dens. They usually find shelter in other animals' burrows or attics or other man-made structures.
Our next animal is a squirrel. A squirrel is a small animal, and they eat plants, and they are active all day long, and their front teeth never stop growing.
So now we're going to talk about the blue jay. So the blue jay is a commonly found large songbird. It's known for its blue, white, and black plumage and its noisy calls. Blue jays are very intelligent birds. So blue jays can be found in all kinds of forests, but especially near oak trees. They're common in urban and suburban areas, especially in areas where a lot of oak trees are planted or where you can find a lot of bird feeders. Blue jays eat insects, nuts, seeds and trees, shrubs, and grains. They also take dead and injured small vertebrates, and what they will do is they will hold them with their feet and then peck at them with their beak.
Our next bird that we have to talk about is the blue heron. And the blue heron is actually much bigger than a lot of the other birds we talked about. They stand about 4 feet tall, and they weigh roughly 5 pounds. They inhabit the waterways around central Indiana, and so you can find them in the early morning around the White River, and they like to hunt during the day. And it's important to note that they're actually omnivores. They eat plants in addition to small reptiles, amphibians, fish, and other birds.
Up next we have the coyote. The coyote is a medium-sized animal, and they eat animals. And the coyote is active mostly at night, and the coyote hunts in pairs or alone, and they are not pack animals.
So now we will be talking about chipmunks. Chipmunks look something like this. So chipmunks are small members of the squirrel family, and they are known for their love of nuts. They're normally 2 to 6 inches in length, and they have a 3-inch long tail. They also weigh less than a pound, so they are very small animals, and they live between 2 to 3 years. You can tell that it's a chipmunk based on the fact that the animal has shades of brown, yellow, and gray fur, and it has white and black stripes going down its back. An interesting fact is that all chipmunk species are native to North America except for one, which is the Siberian chipmunk. Chipmunks feel most at home in areas with plenty of ground coverage, including logs, trees, shrubs, and rocks.
Our next animal is a deer. Deer are large animals. They eat plants and they're active around dawn and dusk. And male deers actually lose their antlers every year and grow new ones.
The Canada goose is well known for flying in the distinctive V formation, and it's also known for its loud honk noise that it makes. Now, Canadian geese are pretty big. They can reach up to 14 pounds, and they can have a wingspan of up to 5 feet. Now, male and female geese have very similar plumage, so their head and neck are black. They have bold white cheek patches, and then their body is gray-brown with white feathers under the tail. The most familiar and widespread goose in North America, the Canada goose can be found in all kinds of water all across the continent.
Next up we have the skunk, which is a small animal. They eat plants and animals. They are active mostly at night, but are also active during the day, and they are immune to snake venom and also eat snakes.
Our next animal are ducks, and there are a lot of different kinds of those around central Indiana, and the one we're going to show here today is the mallard. Ducks come in all different colors and sizes because there's a whole bunch of different varieties, and they usually all live around waterways, so you'll see them on the White River or on the canal. They're usually active around morning or early afternoon, so when you're getting out of school you might see a few going on the river. And it's important to note that even though they really like bread, you shouldn't feed it to them because it's like giving them a ton of candy. And so if you're going to give them something, try to give them something natural like a grass or something like that.
Our next animal is a red-tailed hawk, which is a large hawk and eats small animals. And they're active around dawn and dusk. And they have a shrill scream which actually sounds like a raptor.
Our next animal we have is the groundhog, and so this is the very popular one. He's got his own holiday in February, and it's one of my mom's favorite animals. They're a rodent. They're usually about 2 feet long and about 15 pounds, and they're brown. They can actually do a lot of things besides just burrow in the ground. They climb trees, they can swim, and they actually whistle to alert other members of their colony of danger. They're also vegetarians like the rabbit, and so they eat a lot of grasses. Occasionally they'll have some insects, but for the most part they stick to plants.
So you're about to hear a bird call. That one. It's a Carolina wren. It's this tiny little bird that you really don't see that much because they're hidden and they're so small, but they're so loud and you can always recognize them by that classic call. That's the Carolina wren. Can you see how small it is?
Check it out. A barred owl. So cool. I was not expecting to see this today. You do get these birds around.
This is a liquid amber tree, and you'll be able to notice it by the 5 pointed leaves. Kind of like the maple, but more pokey, like a star. So, an example of one of these leaves would be this. It almost looks, not really like a hand, but it's 5 pointed. And then you'll also notice surrounding it, you have these weird little pokeballs. And these are the fruits of the tree. So I don't recommend doing this because they're pokey, but if you crunch it open, it will have the seed. So this is an oak, and the way that you can always tell an oak is they have this classic like squiggly leaf kind of thing going on. Most of them have the normal acorns that you're used to seeing the squirrels eat, but this tree in particular is a bur oak. So they actually have these acorns that have little hats on them, and that's how you can recognize that it's a bur oak as opposed to any other oak. This tree behind me is a walnut tree, and you'll be able to tell that it's a walnut because it has compound leaves. So this whole thing is one leaf, and each of these are little leaflets. So you'll notice that, but often you'll also notice these guys, which are the walnuts themselves. This is how the plant actually spreads its seeds. So this is not the kind of walnut that you're used to seeing, but if you open it up, there it is, a big fresh walnut. Oh hey, This is a honeysuckle. You'll notice that this tree has, a bunch of leaves, just normal leaf shape, but they also fruit these tiny red berries. You should never eat any berries that you don't know what they are though. Animals like to eat them. This tree is actually an invasive species, so sometimes they get really out of hand, but usually garden keepers can make them look pretty like this. These 3 trees behind me are called catalpa trees. They get super big, so one of the ways you can recognize them is if the leaf is bigger than your face. Pretty cool, you can make a cool Halloween mask. They also have these bean-like protrusions that actually contain their seeds, if you're strong enough to break them apart. They're kind of purple inside, which is interesting. Another way that you can tell it's a catalpa tree, follow me. Sometimes they're labeled. This tree right above us is a maple tree, and there are lots of different kinds of maples. But the one way you can tell that a tree is a maple is they have this very distinct shape with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, but they're more kind of wiggly in between. So there are many different leaf types and many different bark types, but you can always tell it's at least a maple just by the leaf. Okay, so right here I have 2 different types of evergreen trees, which means that they stay green the entire winter. So this one right here is a pine tree, and you can tell it's a pine because the needles kind of puff out like a pom-pom, and if you come over here, you'll notice that the needles are very soft and almost fun to play with. Over here, we have a spruce tree, and the way you can tell it's a spruce is because the branches come out from the main trunk, and they have other branches that hang down from the main branches. So if you come over here, these needles are more pokey, and you probably don't want to touch those. You'll also notice that both of these trees are conifers, which means they release cones, but you can tell the cones are very different from one another. So that means that you have 2 different types of conifers nearby. This tree right here is a sassafras tree, and they grow super huge. One really cool thing about the sassafras is that it has 3 different leaf shapes. So the first leaf shape, just a normal leaf, whatever you would expect. This one looks more like a mitten, so if you're cold in the winter, you would want to put this one on your hand. And then this one looks like a mitten with 2 thumb holes, which I don't know why that would be useful, but there you go. This tree right here is a very old sycamore tree. You can always tell it's a sycamore by this characteristic shape. You'll be able to recognize them. Here's a smaller one. Pretty cute. And then when you look at the bark of the tree, that's the giveaway. So if you look up the tree, you'll notice that the bark starts to come off and reveal the white inner part of the tree. That is a characteristic that only a sycamore has in our area. This tree right here is really young. You'll usually see bigger ones, but if you feel the leaves, they feel really rough, almost like a cat's tongue. That's characteristic of this tree called a hackberry. And they do have berries, just not right now. But if you ever feel a leaf and it feels like sandpaper, it's probably a hackberry. This is a really cool plant. It's commonly known as a touch-me-not. You'll recognize it by these little flowers. Come here. They have little speckles on them, and bees really like them. But the coolest thing about this plant is its seed pods. So if you come over here, this is what a seed pod looks like. And if you apply just a tiny bit of pressure, they pop. That's why it's called a touch-me-not. So it's actually a mechanism of seed dispersal so that the plant can spread its seeds and grow new plants. How neat is that? What you have to be really careful about when you're in nature is that some plants aren't happy to be touched. So if you look at this, it has 3 leaves that kind of look, like they've been cut with scissors a bit. It's right here too, and it's also right over here. That's actually poison ivy. So if you touch that, you'll get really, really itchy and it won't be a good time. So always watch out for 3-leaved ivies. Thanks for joining us on our safari.
And thank you Celebrate Science Indiana for having us.
Thank you, Dr. Garricky, for mentoring us.
And thank you to the Indy Wildlife Watch for providing our footage.
I forgot to unmute. Okay, hi. Now we're gonna do a fun activity where we try and spot the animal in some of our cool pictures that we have. So if Michelle would like to screen share that.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're gonna do here is anyone that wants to jump in and just say where they think the animal is in this picture, then just unmute yourself and go ahead.
Tell them where you see it.
I see him near the nearest tree I see. It's like under a tree branch.
Well, the other kids see too.
Oh yeah, look, she said too. She saw it.
I saw it too.
Oh my
Good
gosh,
job.
you're right. That's awesome. Thank you.
Michelle, if you click forward, there it is. Good job, Jennifer.
Wow.
Oh, it says Jennifer on
It's a squirrel.
It's a squirrel.
Okay.
Too.
So for this one, I think Ashley's iPhone. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, but if you want to jump in.
I found it. I found it. I found it.
You found it.
Where do you see it?
All right, tell them, Elijah. Where do you see it?
I can't find it now.
You can't find it now. Where was
Show
it?
me, show me, show me.
What is it?
I think I see the werewolf like
Yeah, say it.
on the side of the tree.
Which
Yeah,
side of
a
the
werewolf on the side of the tree.
Yeah, you both are
on the
absolutely.
side of the
Oh.
You spotted it.
Oh my gosh, you two are so smart. Yes, you're so right.
And if you look, it's actually a coyote, so it's not as spooky as a werewolf. Good job. I can do number 3. This one's kind of tricky. This is the hardest one we've done so far. Does anyone want to jump in and see if they can find the animal? I can give you a hint if we need it.
Okay.
I think I see him.
Oh, where do you see it?
I see it like on the.
Is that your left or right, Evie? It's
Um,
on your right.
I think it's on my right.
Yeah, good job. Do you know what that is?
No, I have no clue.
Weird looking. So that's actually a groundhog. We don't see them that much outside of the forest.
That big. I thought that was a log for a minute.
I thought it was a log too. We couldn't find it. Okay, so this next one, level 4. This is the challenge round. It's really hard, so if you can't find it, that's okay. It took us forever.
Oh, I see it.
Where?
Oh, I'm not telling you girls yet. You got to figure it out.
Has
Is it
anyone
in a
spotted it?
did I see it. I
What
think
is
I
it?
see it. I think it kind of looks like a bunny.
Yeah, where is it?
It's like in the middle of the screen, lined up with the big tree.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So that is a cute little, super cute. Good job. So, oh, hello again. Oh, so your name is Evie, not Jennifer. That's cool.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, let them do
So
their
we
combos.
also have some handouts for you guys. So where you join the Zoom call, you should have links to some handouts. So they're cute little scavenger hunts that we made. So we made one for animals, about animals you can spot. And that could include like a rabbit or a groundhog or anything like that. Yeah, you guys have them. Cool.
Say thank you. You love them.
I love them. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. The other one includes leaves. So the leaves of the different trees that I introduced in the video. So yeah. And you can color that however you like. You can color them green for summer leaves, or you can make them red or brown or yellow for fall leaves. So whatever you see, you'll be able to color it however you like. Or you can make like pink leaves if you want. That'd be pretty cool. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
Yeah, I'm where is it? When I go into the chat, I don't see anything.